Hi everyone, my name is Hannah. I go by Microbiologist Makes here on YouTube as well as over on Instagram, and this is my Flosstube channel where I talk mostly about cross-stitch but some other hobbies as well thrown in here and there, like knitting and crochet, but today is mostly cross-stitch. Thank you for joining me. So this is Flosstube number 6. So I'm filming my sort of wrap up of the month of June. Actually, before June is over, it's the 28th. Today I just got home from work and I decided to get this filmed and hopefully out before the month is very past. I was thinking of waiting until the end of like the US holiday, but it would just get too far into the next month then. So we're filming today, the 28th, and this is my, I think I already said this, wrap up of the month of July and everything that I stitched or worked on or bought. So I want to thank any returning subscribers as well as any new subscribers or someone who's finding me for the first time today. I appreciate you so much, and I know that's due in a large part to some lovely shout outs that I had from some lovely people, which were Lauren of Oddities and Caitlin of CrossStitch Kate. So thank you ladies, and if you haven't yet checked out their channel, I highly recommend. So I have some previous finishes that are sort of seasonally appropriate. The first is Peck by Plum Street Samplers. This was stitched a few years ago, so I couldn't tell you what the fabric is. It's 32 count, but it's like a gray solid color. It's not hand dyed, I believe. And so this is the backing fabric, and I used some Lady Dot vintage chenille trim. I do remember that. I think most of the colors were the called for. I did swap out, I think, that pink. I don't know if it was in the chart it was more of a red color and I swapped to a pink, or if it was the other way around. Yeah, I don't know. It's been too long, but I'm really happy with how this turned out. I love this whole series, although this is the only chart that I have really planned to, I don't have any other of the series that I really need to stitch at the moment, but I'm happy with this one for now. And then I'll have to scroll across the name of the pattern. It's from the Sweet Land of Liberty book by Blackbird Designs, but I'm not sure which, what the title of this particular pattern in that booklet was. But it is by Blackbird Designs, sort of a little pin cushion that I've finished in a candle holder, I believe this is called. And it looks crooked, it's not. This was on a 32 count piece of linen, and I just sort of popped that in there with some layers of batting. It's very similar to how Brenda Gervais recommends you to finish Happy Birthday America on a sort of pedestal as well. And so I used a couple layers of batting to have that puff up, and I used some color and cotton threads. I think this was my camp cross stitch project from last year in June as well, so yeah. And then I have some finishes actually, and an FFO that I had previously finished. I think in March I finished this pattern, but I actually popped it in a frame, and that is Winter Quail by the Blue Flower. Sorry. This is on 36 count anthracite by XJ Designs, stitched with the call for DMC, or then for like the bigger portions of color I chose different color and cotton threads. So that brown is color and cotton. I believe this is also a color and cotton. And I didn't have the wool gatherer thread that is called, you're supposed to satin stitch the scarf on with that wool gatherer thread. I just used a DMC, I think the same color as the snowflakes. So it was a little finicky to get it to lay nicely, and it's still like not, I would say, perfect, but it's good enough for me. So, and this frame actually came this color, and it was like meant to be, I guess, because it matches so well and it fits so well. So I pinned that and put it in here a couple weekends ago, and I am ready for winter now, I guess. It's barely summer. And then I had a surprise, I guess, finish. I had pulled out the Gifts from My Garden by Hello from Liz Mathews, and I, was just craving to stitch on a flower for some reason. So I pulled this out, and then I got into like a mode and I could not stop stitching it. So I stitched it to completion. And it is on 36 count needle and flax Steinbeck, which is a hard to find fabric, I know. I happened to find it when I was shopping at CrossStitchery in Iowa. This is embarrassing. I don't know the name of the town, and I live in Iowa. It's like 45 minutes from me. I don't know. But anyway, irrelevant. You can Google it. And if I know someone on Instagram had reached out and asked where they could get this fabric, and I recommended that shop, and they called the shop, and the shop was able to send them in the mail a piece of this. So yeah, all's well that ends well. Anyway, oh gosh, this is on 36 count needle and flax Steinbeck, all the called for DMCs, and then I added the buttons and like the call for placement pretty much as the cover page. Those are some antique buttons that I had hanging around, and then doing this back stitch sort of edge around the oval was really tedious, but it just makes it before I think Liz also mentioned this, it does look like an Easter egg, and then you add that little lace detail and it's just like perfect. So yeah, I highly recommend that stitch. I have a frame in mind that I happened on just like by chance. I wasn't even starting to stitch on this project yet, but I was like, it's hard to find a good oval frame. So I saw it, I grabbed it. It was $1 and or $1 or $2, and it fits like insanely well. So, and that's this frame, which I'm going to distress. I think I've showed this in a previous video, but I mean, I'm so excited. It'll be interesting to cut a piece of foam core to that oval shape, but that's a problem for future Hannah. So, and then I have one more finish, which is actually a start and finish. So I'm participating in Colorado Cross Stitcher's Cross Stitch Camp. So go check out her channel for more details. But the June project was to stitch on something with a bird. So I chose MamaWitch Cross Stitch Lady Goose, or I've also seen it just as Goose Cross Stitch. And I actually started and finished that in the month of June, which is the goal of Cross Stitch Camp. So yeah, there we are. I just posted this on Instagram recently. This is on a piece of 28 count even weave that I dyed. I believe I used charcoal and pearl gray, sort of like, it's hard to get like a true black. It very often ends up purple for me or blue. So this is more just like a dark gray. But I'm really happy with that. There's some sort of tricky parts. So there's some French knots in the mushrooms and in her kerchief. And those were a little bit finicky to put in. And then there's some back stitching, but it's so cute, and I'm not sure how I'll finish this one. I do have a frame that could possibly work, a small oval frame, or my backup is a pillow, so we'll see. Hopefully next time I'll have a finish. So for whips, I have actually quite a few. I couldn't really settle on something for any length of time. My first whip, which has been my go-to lately, which I have to unearth from my pile of whips in front of me here, is Greenhouse of Oddities. This is by Lola CrossStitch. It's a style that's released in parts, and so I'll pop in a picture of what it looks like so far. There's a new release scheduled for this week, after we had a week off this previous week. So I am all cut up. And actually, well, why don't I show this? This is a project bag that is new to me. My mom sewed it up for me, and it has mushrooms on it, and I thought it was very appropriate. So there's that. And I'm stitching this on 36 count Anthracite by XG Designs, all the called for DMCs. And I am caught up, which is very exciting. I hope to stay that way. So this week, or the latest release was the carnivorous plants. So we have the Venus flytrap, the little adorable little fly. And I forget the name of this one, but it's in symbiosis with this, some species of rat. Not very impressive, my knowledge here, or retention of what these plants are that I'm searching, but you know. Previous releases were the scientist lady painting the butterflies here. This really tiny little owl, some cacti. So I won't even try. Look at a different channel if you're wondering the names of the plants. So yeah, that's where I am at that point for that one, and yeah, excited for, like I said, for the next release. My next whip is my full coverage, which I did get back to this month after last month when I didn't get to stitch on it at all. I was hoping for a page finish, but I didn't quite get there. This is Settling In by the artist is Dunn, and it's charted by Paine Free Crafts. And I'm working on the second page of 41 pages. Someone asked if I could give the number of pages total, so that is 41, I believe, or in the 40s. I don't know, my brain is mush. It's been a week, so, and it's only Wednesday, but it's been a week. So this is my second page that I'm working on. There's just a picture frame up on a mantle, so there's like some stonework, and I don't think anything really interesting comes in on this page, except there might be a basket here. Otherwise, it's just all like background and my million shades of brown. But I am really enjoying this one. I'm sort of taking the approach of stitching a color at a time, and I'm working on Pattern Keeper, so it's really easy to scan through and look to see which color is used the most in that page. So I then stitch that color, so I'm not like skipping around as much or having to count as much, and then I like fill in with order of like just the DMC numbers and get that filled in that way. So it's sort of like color completing, but not like cross-country extreme color completion like some people do. I would mess up very, very badly. I guess that's why they grid their fabric, but I don't mess with that. So then the next whip is sort of one that just came out of the blue. I had seen Megan, the Seattle Stitcher, working on this. It was actually her birthday start, and she has it going on a really pretty blue fabric, which was a great idea. And this is A Shepherd's Song by Plum Street Samplers. Try to get that without the glare. And I started this in 2020. Haven't really touched it very much since then. And I just picked it up this week and decided to put in a sheep. So that's where I am. I'm stitching this on 36 count Tropical Stitches Gabriella, I believe. And I added that striped sheep at the, striped sheep there at the bottom. And I did rechart the verse, so instead of saying like, I think it's this work wrought by here down in the corner, I switched that to just like a continuation. So may goodness and mercy follow thee, and then I charted all the days of thy life. So I'm excited to get to that house. I am stitching this with one thread, and I'm getting a little nervous that the black, because I mean, it's a black house, that it's going to look patchy, but it's too late to go back now. Like, I can't do anything about it. We'll just have a house with some holes in it, I guess. I don't know. Then I have my next whip, which is The Fruit of Plenty by Modern Folk Embroidery. I have a goal of getting to finish this by the end of September. I was supposed to get to 70% by the end of June. I'm at 65%. So I think there's still some leeway. And it's not like a hard and fast rule that this has to be finished by the end of September. It was just like a silly goal that I had for myself. But it is shaping up really well, if I say so myself. I'm not following any sort of rhyme or reason about direction I go in. I just stitch a color until I'm tired of it. I'm actually not going to fill in that center medallion either until the very end, because that's when you can swap out and put in, Jacob had different houses charted, including a birdhouse, which is really cute. So I haven't really decided which to put in. And then on either side where you see those open segments of like branches are initials, and I'm gonna wait to put those in just because I'm lazy and I don't want to like figure out centering in that space. But yeah, I'm stitching this on 40 count Marbled Bunny by XG Designs with DMC 8 and 3773. And it's very, very wrinkly. I apologize. I wasn't in the headspace to iron. Then I also have another whip that sort of came out of the blue. This is Dimensions Sweet Cow. And you can stitch in two variations, so they're without the floral and with the floral headband sort of situation. And obviously I went with the floral, which actually means more work. But yeah, it's fun. I thought it would break up, like, I don't know. I thought it was cuter. So I'm stitching this on a 28 count wheat Lugana, which I started this project in 2020 as well. And I thought I had more of this done. I thought I could like finish this. I thought I was seeing a bunch of people like Lauren of the Hampshire Stitcher picking up projects and finishing them, and I was like, I want to do that. But I failed to realize that I don't have very many projects that are close to a finish. So I thought I was way farther on this, and I picked it up and I was like, yeah, I can't get this done in a few days. But I do have a decent amount done. I actually just filled in this color, the back of the calf. And yeah, it's not looking a whole lot different, but stitches are stitches, I guess. And they were actually half stitches, so I probably put in like a total of 100 stitches on this, and then I was like, can't finish it, don't want to work on it anymore. But yeah, she's super cute, creased down the center of her head and all. So who knows when I'll finish, when or if I'll ever finish that one. And then, so to follow up on that, I was like, I need to finish a whip. I really want to finish a whip. So I pulled out one that was sort of close, and by sort of close, I mean above 30%. And that's Autumn Town by, oh, the name just went out of my head. I'll have to scroll it across. I'm sure everyone knows, but I pulled this one out. Oh, Autumn Lane Stitchery. There we go. I saved the day. Autumn Town by Autumn Lane Stitchery, and I pulled this out just a couple nights ago and got a couple of roofs in of these houses. And it is fun to fill in just large splotches of color, but it gets a little boring for me kind of fast. At least doing the roofs did. The trees are fun. And I'm doing this on 28 count even weave that I Rit dyed, because at the time you couldn't get the called for fabric. It was out of stock everywhere. So I just winged it with some green apple Rit dye, and I think it turned out okay. It looks like grass, it's green. So I have the cute snout cutting off a little bit of the fence post, but yeah, it's not on there super great. It's sort of a reflection of my life right now, but anyway, I'm using the called for silk for the tree, and then I'm using this tree. There's lots of trees, Hannah. I'm using that called for silk. Otherwise I'm using the DMC orange and those tan colors, but there was for the trees I pulled color and cotton. Not explaining things well today. I haven't used it yet, but color and cotton Castle Garden for green trees. Color and cotton Merlot for the red trees. Color and cotton Autumn Foliage for the yellow. And then the last is Spiced Cider for this orange. I don't even think I've stitched an orange tree. Oh, right there. So yeah, just to use up the coloring cotton that I have in my stash. So that's working really well. I'm also using the called for Weeks Dye Works molasses for the roofs. So I got a couple of those in. It was a lot of stitches. I actually hit my most highest number of stitches ever on Sunday. I had nothing else to do. I was like, you know, I'm just gonna stitch all day. And I didn't really even start until late morning, and I took breaks. But I stitched on Fruits of Plenty. I got 1,000 stitches in on it. And then I picked this up and got 600 stitches. I think that's a record for me, 1,600 stitches in a 24-hour period. But it's also because you can just stitch like big blocks of color, or Modern Folk Embroidery is just like one color that you can go to town on and get a pretty good distance with. So that's the only reason why. But yeah, a little milestone for myself as a stitcher. I got 1,600 stitches in one day. I'm not sure that's something to be proud of, but here we are. So that's all I have for whips this month. I will now be moving into my crochet and knitting progress, as well as some haul and thrifting. If you don't want to stick around, though, I completely understand, and thank you for watching this far. For crochet, I did get in sort of a hyperfixation mode. I found this pattern for a granny square belt bag, or sort of like fanny pack, and I made 4. They're a great way to use up yarn scraps. I actually don't use that much, which I was a little disappointed in, because I wanted my scrap bin to go down in volume, but it didn't really. So I made 4 different colorways. This was my first, and I had posted in my stories a picture of one of the granny squares, and someone said they looked like s'mores, and they do. So this is that one. They're just attached with sort of these, I forget what they're called, D-link, something like that, clips that you can get in a pack of 2 for pretty cheap. There's you slip stitch to a point, and then I'm going to add lining and a zipper for these as well to make them more sturdy, but for right now they're just lineless. And I actually walked around with one of them like nothing in it one day, because I just like the vibe of wearing it. But yeah, they will be lined eventually and put to actual use. So that's my first colorway. This is my second. It's probably one of my favorites. So yeah, I guess I can demonstrate how you use them. So like that. Or yeah, behind you. So I'm feeling very young and trendy. Not really. And then my third, and actually scratch that, this one is my favorite. This one I actually did go with the like classic scrappy granny square look. So yeah, I will link the pattern in the description box. And yeah, it was a really cheap pattern and easy to do. Like I could do multiple of these in a day, so it's very satisfying. I actually don't have any knitting progress to talk about now that I think about it. I have been working on a shawl, the pressed flower shawl by Amy Christophers, but it's pretty boring. I haven't gotten that much farther since I last showed you. And I'm actually now filming without the air conditioning on, because it's been making a really loud rattling noise lately, and I knew that would be distracting, so I turned it off. And I'm feeling the temperature right now. My cheeks are getting a little red, but yeah, okay, moving on. Haul. I do have one piece of haul. I bought some yarn, surprise, for the Stephen West sock, surprise sock along, which is starting, I believe, July 6th. And you just needed a contrasting color and a mean color. So I went with Knit Picks palette in the fingering weight, and this is Verdant Heather, and it's like a dark green with some brown and maybe like a teal emeraldy green color in it. And then Seagrass for the contrasting color. So I think those will look nice together. And I'm gonna knit, so I have 2 circular needle sets that I'm gonna knit. It's not like technically 2 socks at a time, like on the same needles, but separately. You get the idea. And so that I don't end up at the end of July with just 1 sock syndrome. I actually want a pair this time. So that's the plan. plans for CrossStitch. I'm going to for sure participate in the July CrossStitch camp, which the prompt is to stitch something that grows. So I'm going to do the First Day of Christmas Tree by Mathews. I am going to stitch this as a tree, not the sampler. And so it sort of hits that category double there. There's pears, which grow, and it's in the shape of a tree, which grows. So I dyed some fabric for this. I had some 36 count even weave by Fabric Flare actually. I had bought like a yard of it. It's like less than $30. It was the way to go. And then that I could just dye for series so that I'm not like having to buy a piece of fabric for each installment when there's, 12 in a yearly series. So like this, so I got this piece of fabric I dyed for the first day of Christmas. So it's like a greeny gray. I tried to match the cover image as best I could, and it is wrinkled because I shoved it in a bag immediately after it was done drying. And then I have two other colors that I have ready to go. I haven't dyed the rest for the other 12 days, other 11 days, but I have like an off-white tan color for one of them, and then sort of like a paley green blue, maybe. I'm just throwing out all color names at this point. It's a red, yellow, green, blue fabric. So yeah, those are my for sure plans. I also want to, get another 10% at least on Fruits of Plenty. I mean, I'm never going to get more than 10%. I don't know what I'm saying. But I'd like to get farther on that. I don't think I'm done stitching on Autumn Towne either. I know it's out of season, but I think it'd be fun to have that one finished this year too. So I'm going to continue to work on that. I'd like to get some full coverage stitching in on Settling In. And that's really for sure all that I have intended to work on this month. I'm sure there'll be other things that I throw in here and there. But I do have some thrifting to talk about. So I went to some estate sales, and it's mostly all frames that I'm going to be showing today. The first, I actually did find this little planter. So it's like a basket, and then it had like this metal, it's actually sitting right in front of me, that's what I'm looking at, metal frame that props it up, you know the drill. And I got this donkey's tail, or mule's tail? Donkey's tail. I think it's donkey's tail. Succulent, and I planted that in it. I thought that looks really cute where it is. And then the only other thing that I didn't get, that wasn't a frame, is this little strawberry vase. I thought it was so cute. I have this little strawberry collection going of little small vases, and yeah, that's about it. I thought it was really cute, and then I flipped it over and it says Avon Strawberries and Cream Bath Foam, 4 fluid ounces. So yeah, how cute is that packaging for bath foam? I wish they still did stuff like that, but yeah, it's really cute. And then we'll get into the frames. So I found this oval frame, which still has a $2 price sticker on it. I'm thinking this could go with Lady Goose, possibly. I don't know. Oval frames are hard to find, like I've said. This one has sort of a cool detail. I wouldn't even need to paint it. Got some glare going on. And this one's my favorite. I paid a little bit more for this one. This was at an estate sale that they were having out at a farmhouse, and they actually just moved everything from the house into an outbuilding, which is a little disappointing because I think half the reason that I like estate sales is because I'm nosy. That's also why I'm in science, because I'm nosy. I like to walk through people's houses, but it was still fun. They had the outbuilding like packed with stuff. So I found this frame, and I was thinking it would look great for Greenhouse of Oddities because it's sort of like a weird shape, like the greenhouses with a dome and everything. But then I also got to thinking that it would work really good for, I think it's Autumn Cloche by Hello from Liz Mathews, which I also have started. So it's a toss-up whether which one I'm going to use this for. I haven't held up either piece to it to see if either of them actually fit, although just like eyeballing it, they do. But here it is. It's gonna be terrible glare, I'm sorry. The artwork itself is gorgeous, and it actually on the back it says from Mrs. Jackie Sorensen, and then no, you're not gonna be able to see that, 1938. So I feel guilty also like ripping out the artwork and like pillaging it for the frame, but oh, it's so cool. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what this ends up framing. Your guess is as good as mine. And I think that's all the thrifting thrifting haul I have to talk about. I also want to mention some new Flosstubers that I have been watching recently. The first is Cat Fur and CrossStitch, Lindsay. She has a whip parade out, I think less than a month ago, and also her first Flosstube, and she's like a pro, and she has a really great personality and demeanor and it's really easy to listen to her. And the whip parade is like over an hour long, which is fantastic. She has some finished pieces up behind her of those tier trays by Madame Chantilly, I believe, and that was really cool to look at. And yeah, highly recommend her channel. She's super nice. Then the second channel I'm going to talk about is Soph. She is from Wales, and she stitches some really cool patterns, ones that you don't see a lot of people working on, and I just love her whole sort of vibe and aesthetic she has going on. So I very much recommend those two channels, so go show them some love. And yeah, now that my words are like completely failing me, I'll just ask you to like, subscribe if you're so inclined, leave me a comment. I'd love to chat with you, and until next time, take care. Bye.